Hello and welcome to another episode of the New World Comics Podcast. I am Buck Berlin, owner-operator of this fine establishment. With me is Stephanie Cerny.
Hey.
Yay!
Yay!
With us also the voice of God, Brad Reed.
Blessings.
Yay! You can listen to Brad Reed and myself in Cameo on the Nerds to Men podcast.
What?
Everywhere you can find this podcast.
Except
true.
for, I don't know.
Except for one of them, right?
Yeah, just one.
Oh,
SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good thing somebody knows.
Yeah. SoundCloud,
It makes me hate SoundCloud.
It's the worst. But
I'll cancel my account. We're no longer on SoundCloud.
yeah. So Brad's running the show for us. So if you have any complaints on the technical end, send them his way.
Yeah.
He loves getting them.
I love
Loves
that.
it. Joined with us this week is Evan Sprinkle.
Woo! Yay!
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 Hi, Evan.
Hello.
So, how we always kick these things off, why don't you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Well, as he said, my name is Evan Sprinkle, and yes, if you know somebody with the last name Sprinkle, I am sure I am related. Man, that is a crazy family tree that we're all quite related, and there's a lot of crazy in it too. But that's okay. What I do is I like to do a lot of different things, creative stuff like that. But occupation-wise, is I have one of the strangest and most fulfilling jobs there is. I'm a stay-at-home parent, which means within a day I will be the entertainment for the kids, I will be the disciplinarian, and I will be the one they try to boss around all day. I mean, like, there is no telling what you're going to do. And anyways, and you can't ever take a smoke break, really. You can hide from them. They're just like, "Where are you, Daddy?" But anyways, any stay-at-home parent will understand.
That's when you send them to go play hide and go seek and just don't look for them. Just saying.
Thankfully, Buck's not a parent yet.
Nothing I know of.
Oh.
Yeah, listen, no one's coming around. So.
Yet.
So
They'll show up once you hit your millions, dude. That's what'll happen.
yeesh.
Yeah.
Good thing that'll never happen.
Yeah, so I think you're pretty safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Evan, what got you into comics?
I remember when I was 8 years old, our family went up to Oklahoma City, which was a rarity. We usually didn't travel a lot.
Where were you from?
Weatherford, good old
okay.
Weatherford, Oklahoma.
There's a lot of folks coming out of Weatherford.
Yeah, interesting.
I know you had a dude on the podcast that was a Weatherfordian.
Yeah.
The magician guy. I can't remember his name.
Cassidy.
Yeah. So I thought, I bet we know some similar people. But we went up to the city, and me and I got an older brother, older sister. Me and my older brother, we both bought a comic book. And I remember it was like $1.50. And I bought an Avengers, and he bought a Silver Surfer. And we brought them home. And, man, I read those and read those and read those. And within a month, he was like, yeah, dude, you can have my comic. It's cool. And he liked them, but I was just in love with them. And the Avengers I got, it was great. It was aimed right at an 8-year-old. The stories, it was just adventure. It was a whole bunch of people.
Do you remember the story?
No, you know what I remember? I remember Hawkeye and in that purple suit and everything.
Uh-huh.
Even when I was 8, I thought his purple suit looked stupid. I was like, dude, come on. But I remember Thor was in there, which, he's just awesome and everything.
Yeah.
And I really remember the Silver Surfer comic that my brother got. And he's just like a year and a half older than me, but I'm like, oh, it's my older brother. And so I was like, ooh, he got the more mature comic book, And so back then I was like, Silver Surfer is so mature.
Uh-huh.
Hold on. Sorry about that. But anyways, when I got older, I was really reading the Silver Surfer comics, and those really did tackle a lot of philosophical questions.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer was never like, oh, you're bad, I have to kill you. They were like, if I destroy you, how is that going to affect your family or the environment around you? And he had, that is just, I look back at that, I'm like, there is some really great writing of morality when you have all this power and the duality of violence versus protecting the innocent. Anyways, that's how I got into comics. And then after that, once a month, I had a paper out. And that's how I, I made my money. Once a month, I'd walk down to the local gas station, and they were great. They had almost all of the DC and Marvel comics.
Yeah.
I would go in, I would read like every single comic, and then I would pick 1 to 2. It was funny. It was funny. And every now and then, I remember being like 9, and the cashiers there, they were real friendly, you know?
Yeah.
But after an hour of reading the comics, I'd come and put it on the counter, and they'd be like, "Oh, you finally picked one." I'd be like, "Well, yeah." You know, and I didn't get the joke at all. I was just like, "That's how you do it."
That's hilarious.
But that started me on the comic road, and I look back and just being like, "Oh, the artwork was amazing, amazing." And then I went into college, and I was an art major and stuff like that. And there were some mentalities in college that were like, that artwork in comics, you know, that's ridiculous, you know. So I took on some of that for a very short time, because then I looked at fine art and all this stuff and was like, you know what? What they're doing in comic books is amazing still. Like, their anatomy has to be right, or it's a stylized version of anatomy, and it just looks radical.
And the style has to be fairly consistent through the
Which
things
is
to make it work. Yeah.
insanely hard to do. There are these millionaire painters that they paint just wacky junk and put it in a gallery and make millions of dollars. They could not make a comic book. Like, that's what is the reality.
There's a customer of ours that does, like, you know, realistic paintings, and he's coming in with all these questions on, okay, so I understand how that works. How does the comic panel page work? Like, it's interesting to see him try to wrap his mind around that, because it's yes, it's simplified, but it's almost speaking a completely different language. Because it's not just this one image to tell you the whole story. It's these multiple images that can tell you the whole story. Or it's this image that tells you the story, and here's the progression of that.
Yeah, and if you've ever done, and there's a lot of artists that have tried it. If you've ever tried to do it, it's really easy to make it really bad.
Yeah.
Like, where you do it and you're like, I don't even know what's going on, and I'm the one that drew it.
Yeah.
You know? Or it's just squares that are like, this is boring to me, and I drew it. Like, that's... But, anyways.
Interesting. So, what would you say are some of your favorite stories or favorite series?
Oh, one of my favorites, which I found here at Buck's shop, it's called Profit Remission, and you can get it in trade paperback. Like, it is futuristic sci-fi. Aspects of it are like weird classic sci-fi, where you're following this dude on this planet, and you're like, what the heck's going on? And it lays it out so great. It lays a story and opens things up so great. And it's exciting, and it's fun, and aspects of it are just weird, but not like just gross weird, because there's gross weird comics that I don't always enjoy.
Yes, there are.
but that is one. I mean, like, if you're into sci-fi, Profit Remission is the way to go. And I was reading about it a bit. Didn't they take some old Image characters and redo them?
So he was one of the not the first wave, not necessarily the second wave, but about the third wave of Image. When Rob Liefeld was like, let's really try to capitalize on everyone just buying every new #1.
Okay.
And he was one of the characters, because he had the big, like, weird head thing, and he's got the big shock of black hair that's slicked back, and a big purple suit, and he's ripped with muscles, and covered in blood and gore, and always has axes and weapons and guns and all sorts of stuff.
Well, I remember some of those characters. Like, your character, you're like, oh, that looks awesome, and then you read a little bit, and you're like, there's nothing here.
There's no story.
They're like, But they take that and redo it? I mean,
So they took the concept of him, and then they didn't really pay too much attention to the story that went on with it, and then they put it in kind of a new setting, and were like, okay, so his name's Prophet. What do we do with that?
Well, they did a good job coming up with a really great story.
Right, because it was him and Glory at the same time.
Oh, okay. Well, it's really radical, and I suggest the Prophet trade paperback, and that is the best one, because it goes on and tells other stories after that.
Right.
They're not as good, unfortunately. Like, they're neat and weird, but it's
just for a one and done.
Yeah. I mean, that is an awesome trade paperback. And anyways, and it's an Image trade, so, like, they're all under $20. Like, that is what's so cool about that. But the next one I would want to suggest to people is called Mouse Guard.
Yeah.
That book is just amazing. Like everything about it is in a way different. Like the dude, what is his name? Peter Davidson or David Peterson? I get it.
Peterson.
Peterson. But you can tell like the inking is just beautiful and highly detailed. And so visually it looks amazing and beautiful. And the idea is there are all of these little mice, and it's in a medieval set world. And the guard are little knights that help protect civilians that are traveling and help protect civilians from all these predators, like wolves and snakes and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, what's wonderfully written about it is that they really work towards honor, and the characters all have their own personalities, and all of them. If you're in the guard, you're a really good person, which I'd say you're a really good mouse.
Yeah.
But there's different personalities, and they interpret things a little bit differently. But reading that, like Mouse Guard, it's so beautiful, and it's family friendly. Like you can be 6 and read it, and you can be 40 and read it, and still really enjoy it. But to me, I got the sense of like when reading Lord of the Rings, the books, like the characters are so honorable. That they encourage you to be a better person. I'm like, this little mouse is encouraging me. This is awesome. I'm like, I want to be like Saxon or Kinsey or So the original Mouse Guard is just a great story. That is something to pick up. That you can read and your kids can read.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did Mouse Guard, Legends of the Guard, which was just so fun because was it Peterson? You said was like, hey, here's my world, here's my story. But I want other artists and other writers to throw their own stories, short stories.
Yeah.
And so you'll pick up one of those, or it's in book form now.
Yeah.
But you'll have a short story of something that happened with the Mouse Guard, 2 pages. The next story will be about 3 or 4 pages, and all of the stories are different artwork and somebody's different take on it. And like the first story I may not love, the second story I love. The fourth one I'm like, that was okay, but it's just so well done.
That's what I really love about the anthology collections like that. Even like the Hellboy weird stories, or the even Marvel Comics Presents.
Yeah,
me
too.
Like sometimes you'll get some really really great stuff, and then the rest are just. No.
Yeah,
but you get exposed to a lot of other stuff that you normally wouldn't because you're trying to follow this one thing, and then you're exposed to other things, and guess what? Now you're like that.
Yeah, and you don't feel ripped off at all. It's
Right.
like, well, I like this, I hated that. Oh, that was okay.
Yeah.
But like, it's just still totally cool.
Like one thing I really like with Mouse Guard is, even though it's for all ages, I think the more experience you have with life, and the more you know about certain things in history, you read it differently.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what's so amazing about it. There are aspects of it that are subtle, and it doesn't deal with anything disgusting, but it deals with kingdoms and kings and queens and knights and all this. And there's some subtlety there that you're like, oh, dude, that'd be rough to go through. Where the kids are just like, oh, he's a great warrior, he's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with that dude.
Yeah.
With what he made.
Very much so.
I had a question for Buck and Stephanie, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I'm just like, is an opportunity.
yeah. No, you had mentioned that
so
you wanted
cool.
to you wanted to interview us. For
I
the most
did.
part.
I know. So do we have 3 hours, Brad?
I will. How's this? I'll hand things over to you until you get sick, and then I can start asking another question.
Well,
whatever you want to do.
I can talk a lot, but we'll see. But actually, what I wanted to ask is, Buck, you and Stephanie, y'all work together great,
Yeah.
and y'all work on the cons together, and I've seen just some of it, a small portion of it up close.
Yeah.
2 things, like how did y'all get to know each other?
We have a love that dare not speak name.
And then how did you stop it? That is terrible. I'm not even your wife, and that is a terrible joke.
I love my wife
He just
so much.
took his ring off
yeah.
jokingly. As in that is.
I make that joke all the time.
That is
The one thing that I am most serious about in life is my marriage.
I know. That's
make
why I
jokes about it
smile,
all
and they're
the time,
awesome.
though.
You're an awesome
Yeah.
couple.
Oh my gosh.
I'd be nothing without my wife.
I
But no.
remember when you showed me the ring that you were gonna get for Kira, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like you started crying.
No.
God.
Oh my gosh! And he's like, "I love her so much."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he,
I believe it.
He shows me like the ring he's gonna get her.
Yeah.
It was just like,
and then like I show her like the ring, like before I propose.
Yeah.
It's the, check it out. Oh my god, I got here.
and then he's like crying.
yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
But like
that's awesome.
adorable.
Oh, I know.
Sorry,
I know.
what
It's awesome.
was the actual question? I just wanted to be weird.
Yeah.
Oh, the actual question was, why do you guys work so well together? And I'm not asking you, Buck. I'm asking Stephanie. Like, what is your perception? Why do you guys? Because I've heard Buck say, like, he's consistently been complimentary of like, oh my gosh, Stephanie, I really like what you. But he says, you make everything flow better. But I'm like, Stephanie, why? Why does it work well?
We
with y'all?
complement each other really well.
I talk about her hair. She talks about what's left of mine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Complementing each other
Yeah,
well.
I think we each have strengths in different areas, and we complement each other really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love organizing things and planning
I
things. He hates
don't.
it.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't.
I mean, I like the initial planning stages.
He likes the idea of planning things.
I'm an
Yeah.
I'm an idea man, and she's very much a planner.
And I'm like, let me make a list of all of your ideas.
Yeah, and
so I can get them out of your brain.
And she helps with the that's an achievable thing. I'm trepidatious about this. This is very doable. Hey, we had a breakthrough with this thing. So
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're able to prune some of his ideas. I mean, would that be a
And
right
I
way to
think
say
it's,
it?
I will say, like, I think other than Kira, I'm one of the few people that you listen to.
Yeah. For the most, I mean, there are a lot of
Like-
people in my life that'll tell me no. And
Well, not just yeah, they'll tell you no, but I think like you value what I have to say.
right, but I mean, a lot of people just don't think that we can do what I know we can do.
Yeah. Like I totally believe in your ideas, and I'm willing to
it's-
figure out how we can do it.
Right.
Oh, like you have a crazy idea, and they're like, "Dude, that's dumb," or "Pfft, why are you even doing
Or it's
that?"
the, oh my God, you're not going to be able to do that. And it's the, no, I know what we're all capable of. We can do this. Because I can see the talent in people. I see the abilities in people, and I know the things that can happen. And I will sometimes have to set up a few things for Stephanie, and then she'll just take it and go. Or sometimes, like, I don't even have to go that far, and she's just like, oh, I'm on it, I got this. And then she'll do the, oh, well, you didn't even realize that they had this capability or this or this or this. And then it's the, oh, well, that makes everything so much easier.
Do you agree with that, Stephanie?
Yeah.
And what I think where a lot of what we do, where we work well together, is our respect for each other, because we're both very caring about everyone's feelings, and we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings like that. So we never really come at it as any kind of a power grab. We never come at it as any kind of one-upsmanship. It's all this, oh, it's really cool that we get to do this thing. How can we work to make it better? Because none of us really want to take the credit for it.
That's a really big deal.
And I mean, ultimately, it has to fall to me, because what we're doing ends up for the store.
Yeah.
So
Well, and you're a leader.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of times that I'm sick of making the choices, and
I mean, I don't mind talking to people and telling people, hey, we have to do this, and people will totally listen to me, and I can come at it at like a different perspective or a different way,
Yeah.
I know. Well, and there's something about you, Stephanie, that you're like, hey, I'm going to tell you this. And you're like, I don't want to hear that, but I'm not mad. Why did that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's because she doesn't have a beard.
Yeah.
That's what
And I don't know why. It's just
You don't know why you don't have a beard?
Well, I mean, I could.
Yeah.
I
They
choose,
sell them.
I choose not to.
Glue it right on there. Next time I take mine down, I'll
Yeah.
pass
I
it.
can just glue it on.
Keep it in a little baggie for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
It's just a good working relationship,
Yeah.
which sometimes you don't realize how fortunate you are to have one until you try to work with somebody else.
Oh,
and
yes.
then you realize it's not easy to work with everybody.
No.
Like
Yeah.
there are some people you can't work with.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
just
know?
because of personality.
Well, right,
differences.
but we could see where they would work incredibly well with
Mm-hmm.
others. You know, like it's just we have a really good give and take.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Well, the next thing I wanted to ask all about was I watched the Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah.
You know, really great movie. And then I wanted to ask Stephanie, what did you like about it? What did you dislike about it? Well, because you're
Yeah.
like you would said you're a Spider-Gwen fan.
I love,
just, like,
yeah.
so much.
I think I would be willing to say this is probably my favorite Spider-Man movie now. Like, it was just so good. Just phenomenal.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh, me too.
You know, and I don't think there was really anything I didn't like. I mean, other than, oh, well, you know, you can say, oh, well, I wish this character had more time or this character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't have, like, I don't want a 4-hour movie.
oh I do.
Yeah. No wonder.
You know?
Yeah, hardcore
Yeah,
fans
yeah.
would. There was that last Batman movie that was like 3 hours. With it, that
Yeah.
that was way
They're
too
like,
much
oh,
for me,
we're going to
dude.
put in an intermission.
Oh my
know?
gosh, that was. But yeah,
Of the Avengers
Yeah.
movies, 10 hours long.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. Yeah.
Here's Hellcat and here's Tiger. Here's all your
Yeah.
favorite. Yeah.
Like just the soundtrack and the visuals, like
Oh,
everything was just perfect. Like it was
Wow.
so good.
Well, there was something about the visuals and how they used different animation and how they did.
Oh gosh, that was so great.
Your eyeball was like, "What am I looking at now? I like it. Oh, that's different. I like it."
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you're just like, I know I have to watch this at least 2 more times.
Oh, I know.
So I can get an
I
idea of everything happening.
Totally rewatchable. Well, watching the animation, I felt like the animators, they loved comics. Like there were so many
Yeah.
references to comics, but they were so well done in a movie format that I was like, there are some, art dudes that really had fun doing this. Instead of like, there's a lot of superhero movies. Instead of a director taking a character and making a movie,
Yeah.
that doesn't feel as organic.
Well,
It was cool.
It was written by the guys who did the first Lego movie.
Oh, I
they
didn't know that.
Just gotten fired off of. From what I hear, they had just gotten fired off of Han Solo before they went and wrote this.
All right.
So, what do you think? They were like, I love comics. I'm doing comic stuff.
Yeah, they're like, "Well, here's Spider Verse because it's awesome."
That's
So,
cool.
yeah,
Our win.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah, totally. When I watched it with my 3 daughters, and when we were leaving, I asked them. I was like, "Well, girls, when the uncle died, did any of y'all get kind of teary?" They're like, "No. Why would we?" Daddy, did you get teary? And it was like, "Yeah, I did." They're like, "What? What? I can't even believe it." But it was because the main character they did, you related with him so well.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And his teenageriness was done so well. It
Oh.
wasn't
It's
insulting.
It's
It
the
was
best representation of awkward teenager. Like
Yeah.
the minute that he's in the school and is like, "Is anyone looking at me?" I think everyone's looking at me. Oh my god! Like it was I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was hell.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Instead of, like in some of the other movies, you're just like, oh, I wish they would have done this with him, or I wish they would have done that. Why didn't they do this?
Yeah.
It was
Well, and
perfect.
in the story wise, I was just impressed with how much you liked him, and some of it was his challenges. Were I have to overcome this obstacle in my life, which I'm like, that's part of a really legitimate stress about being a teenager.
Oh yeah,
And-
it's so relatable.
Yeah. And I left and I was like, oh, it's a coming of age story. It was a really good. Oh, Spider-Man is a coming of age
Yeah.
story. Duh.
Yeah.
And I think some movies and big time media have forgotten that.
Yeah, they forget like the origin of like what it really is and where the heart hits you, like with this story.
Well, and that's what I thought that's the heart of Spider-Man. He's the coming of age, and that's so radical. Yeah. Now the girls were asking me, "Daddy, where's Spider-Ham? Where does he come from? Spider Noir? What the?" And I was like, Spider-Ham was just a joke that happened in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they used him. That's hilarious. Spider Noir, I was like, I don't know, I've never seen that dude. That's crazy. But I knew Spider-Man 2099, that thing at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Hilarious.
Oh,
And
I lost my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like way back when it was that's the Spider-Man that I love the most.
Yeah.
And no one knows who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
like, he looks cool and freaking. Who is that? That's Spider-Man. No,
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah. My next question is aimed at you, Buck.
Uh-oh.
This is about. I was
Well,
doing
we
some
have a
reading.
love that dare not speak.
Don't do that! Oh, you're being a turd. Oh, that is a bad thing to do to your marriage, Buck. I've been married longer than you.
I love my wife.
I know. That's why you shouldn't do that. Anyway.
She knows.
She knows.
We have vows even. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because that keeps people married.
Pledged my love to. Well, yeah, but I meant it that time. They didn't.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay, we'll get into bitter divorce jokes. We don't need to do that. But we can talk about something bitter, actually. I was reading about Diamond Direct.
Oh,
Is that
Diamond
what-
Comics, yeah.
Diamond Comics.
That's our distributor.
And from what I was reading is to get into the comic book industry, to be able to send your stuff all over the country, you have to go through them.
Yeah.
Because they basically have a monopoly.
They do. They legally have a monopoly in North America. It's been ruled on by the Supreme Court, like back in the 90s, because a whole bunch of different comic distribution companies failed, and then Diamond went through and kind of like back-ended into getting everyone on board. Like Marvel trying to distribute ruined it for everyone else, and then ended up having to go through Diamond, and then all these like people that were trying to be up and comers were trying to get all these get Marvel and DC to distribute through them, but Diamond signed exclusive contracts with them, and if you didn't have Marvel and DC, then you practically had nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
So it went as high as the Supreme Court, and they did yeah, Diamond has a monopoly, but they only enjoy it in in North America, and it's just comics, so no one really cares. Because it was the 90s, and comics were still viewed as trash literature. Like it was a thing. So there's that.
But that just means it's a biased. I mean, because there's a lot of trash literature, pulp books
sure.
and stuff with trash
But
literature. But they made money.
Yeah.
I mean, there's fidget spinners are going to be in the garbage, but they made money, you know, so.
Right, but at the time it was, it wasn't this, movie making machine that everyone was pulling stuff from.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a different era too right now with, like if you're trying to self-publish, you can do digital comics and still,
Get it out there.
Get it out there.
Okay.
It's just if you're trying to, like get it printed and get it in front of people that aren't going to hunt down a digital comic,
which is the majority of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the most part, I mean, it depends on where you're from and all that stuff. But yeah, there's all sorts of different things.
But you're biased, Buck. I mean, you're into so many comic people and people that love comics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that like comics and they'll just pick one up at the store.
Right.
But I'm saying that's a legitimate source of income.
Yeah.
That you're gonna miss if you have to go through. Anyways, I had read that after Diamond distributes it, you have to give them a portion of your profits. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And what is the percentage that?
I think it varies from like person to person. Like if you're making a comic and you want them to sell it, it's so many points off of I think you have to have a minimum of. It used to be 400 units per whatever you're selling, and if the 2,000 or however many stores in the United States don't order that number, then Diamond drops it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if it gets real close, they'll resolicit. But if not, they'll just drop it.
But they're as of right now for print comic media, they're pretty much the gatekeeper, aren't they?
Yes, very much.
You
so.
got to go through them, which
Yeah.
to me sounds so archaic. I mean, that's like 1920s type stuff.
I mean,
and I think
there are some people that will come through us and do the, hey, would you carry our book?
yeah.
And I mean, for the most part, if someone's putting forth the effort and really trying, I'll give them a shot.
Yeah.
But like they have to come to me. Like I'm not gonna go search out every single indie comic.
yeah.
But,
Yeah. Well, working with Diamond, has there things they've done that has really hurt your business?
Oh man!
There's so many stories.
All right, so
We will limit it to about 3 or 4 minutes. 'Cause
my buddy Bronson put it best when he says, "It sounds like you have a very tumultuous relationship with him," and I said yes. So what most people don't understand with comic shops like this is, you walk in, everything that you see in the store, I have paid for.
yeah.
Like it's not a, oh, I'll send it back or I'll get a refund on this. Like if someone wants to return a thing, I don't just send it back to the company. That's mine.
Yeah.
You know, like if
You're invested. You're fully invested in it.
So from everything on the paint and the walls, it's mine. Those boxes, oh man,
And that's what keeps you up at night.
among other things. But
Yeah.
I mean, so you know, ordering things, like I'd love to order every indie comic and support but it's the, I have to think what's going to sell. Who am I going to sell this thing to? What, you know, all that.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll run out of comics. And
Diamond will.
Yeah, Diamond will. And I can't, you know, though I have tons of issue 3 of this thing, I don't have any one. I can't get
You can't
any
get a
one
1 or a
2.
2.
Yeah. Oh god. So there's that. But every now and then they'll send a sales rep to the store, and I had been giving all my complaints to my rep,
Yeah.
and to the point where he was like, "Oh God, what do they do now?" Right?
So he's a pretty good guy, is what you're saying.
I have a really good sales rep
Yeah.
that my customer rep, I have a really, really good one that will do as much as he possibly can, but there's only so much that he can do.
Yeah.
And lately it's been much better, but there was this one time that like we weren't getting any bags and boards, and we kept getting just damaged product upon damaged product, and we were getting close to being put under review for all the claims.
What do you mean claims? What do you mean by
Like
that?
I'd call in like, "Hey, the cover of this trade paperback's ripped."
Oh, to Diamond.
To Diamond.
You're like, guys,
Yeah,
stop screwing up.
yeah. It's the, hey, you sent us, you know, all this adult material when we needed like My Little Pony.
Oh my god.
We're sending it back right now.
So they were looking at reviewing you because they were like,
They were like,
this guy is doing messed up stuff.
Well, they were like, surely, not, you know, all this bad stuff isn't happening, right?
Oh.
So this was right before Free Comic Book Day. We were unloading one of the hundreds of boxes we got in for it, and like the guy sat down and was like, "So, how have we been doing?" And he was smug with himself. I said, "Well, terribly." He says, "Oh, really?" And he was legitimately shocked. I said, "Man, you wouldn't believe the things that we've been finding. Like we've been finding like open markers thrown in with our stuff. We've been finding like, food trash.
There was like a cigarette butt.
Yeah, like there's just all this awful stuff." He says, "No." So I said, you know, I tell one of my guys, "Hey, open up that box." So he opens up the box, and like just as luck would have it, he pulled out a trade paperback where half the cover was completely ripped off, put in another box.
It wasn't even in the right spot.
Right. So like he didn't just like rip it off and put it in the same. It was just like rip, and then he, you know, someone put it in the next box. That same box, we found someone's empty Arby's cup. We found an empty bag of goldfish crackers.
I picture somebody
An open Sharpie, and it,
yeah,
like,
packing and being like, I don't care.
The dude just sank in his chair further. I said, "This is what we're putting up with."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like them.
And this is like right before like our Christmas.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the biggest day of the year.
So things changed real quick after that. For
Well,
us.
that's good.
But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, there are times it gets so bad. It's the, all right, well, you know, they screwed up one comic. We'll just order it and eat it the next week. Oh God. And then, you know, yeah, very rarely does it work out in our favor. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
but you know, you do what you have to survive.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, that's Diamond.
That's terrible.
If there was competition out there, they might have to step up their game. But they are what they are. I have a really great sales rep. You know, when things aren't going well, he'll do everything he can. He'll look into things. You know,
So,
that.
so the moral of the story is, if there's a businessman out there that wants to get into distributing comic books,
Well, but that's the problem.
He can't?
Marvel, DC, and Image have exclusive
those are the
rights
big monsters.
through Diamond.
So
So,
if there's a lawyer out there that wants to have a really good battle,
well, someone's gonna have to pay for that because
I
Steve
know.
Jeppy is a billionaire.
dang it.
So yeah,
Well, anyways, that is just a frustrating injustice, I think, about the comic book
Yeah.
industry. And because there are some injustices about the industry that people have been trying to make right, like as a representation of women and really good quality stories. Creative people are like, let's make this right. Well, then I'm like, the business side needs to be made right.
Right.
Because the
Well,
monopoly is
and
un-American.
I mean, there's that, and then there's the marketing teams, Marvel and DC, that are just flooding the market with all these titles that they're just kind of spitballing, and they don't know when to quit, or they quit too soon on a thing.
When
and-
it was just getting traction,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
or instead of just changing, they'll look at a thing and think, oh, well, that's a failure, instead of, okay, what about this failed? Why don't we take this person or this person off and put these people on and try it again? Along the same lines, they'll just consider that a failure.
Just keep rolling.
Yeah. And then they'll do that. Oh, well, we're not going to do those types of comics anymore because it failed. So,
Frustrating. Interesting. Well, my next question is about digital comics.
Okay.
Like, I remember, I remember before the internet and after the internet. What is that? BI and AI.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to be like, oh, I'm going to look at comic books on the internet, back
Yeah.
in like 95, 98
Yeah.
something. And you're like, click, and the page is like, click, click, click,
Yeah.
like slowly loading. And I'm like, okay, I finally get to see this image of a dude punch a dude. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoo, that took a long time. And so I really thought, okay, print comics are going to be out and digital stuff. But I'm old school. I really enjoy print, but they're not gone yet.
No, and I mean, honestly, that's the thing that terrifies me the most is, when I wake up, see the headline, they're not printing comics anymore.
Oh.
Like that's terrifying to me. I think we're still years out from that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're at a stage right now where some digital sales and some digital outlets are helping the sale of regular comics. Like, people are reading things digitally and thinking, ooh, I want to own that. You know?
People don't like it. Even with like games, people want to own the physical copy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or sometimes.
So it's not just me being an old man.
No. And sometimes people will read something and then whatever is related to it won't be available digitally, so they'll have to come here and get it.
Which helps.
Yeah.
Print.
And I mean, in the long run, I like to think that, we'll end up like a record store
Yeah.
where, yeah, we have the classic this, we'll have the, all these
Hip and
extra.
cool.
Well,
It's something.
it's something. I mean,
Well, we'll have all those 90s comics.
yeah. Oh man. Yeah, or all the 60s like funny animal comics that just no one cares.
Yeah,
about.
that's what's going to be left at the
Yeah.
end.
Oh man. Oh, that's really funny. Well, I wanted to, you have shop stories and everything like that,
Yeah.
and I've not done superhero school and stuff like that, so I don't have all those crazy stories of being naked in the back and trying on weird tights or anything like that.
I don't know
mean-
what stories you've been listening to.
What?
We keep things fully clothed,
Oh,
sir.
okay. Well, okay.
More or less.
I'm sure.
I mean, there's a room that you could do that in, but not in front of everyone. Have some decency, Evan. My God, you're
sure.
the father of children.
Of 3.
3.
which is what I wanted to talk about. Like, coming in here years ago, I just enjoyed coming into a shop, and as I said, amazing job, stay-at-home dad. There's pros and cons to any job, And
Right.
and one of the cons is like I am responsible 24/7,
Yeah.
And so I'd come into the shop with just like a baby strapped to me, and I would just look at the comics and I would listen to you guys over here talk about all kinds of nerd stuff, and I'd be like, oh, that's so cool and hilarious. That's so cool. But I was not like nerd cool enough to go into. That's just what I thought, because I didn't know
No,
everything about.
Yeah,
the Spider-Man.
everyone's always welcome to talk. Like, I mean, as long as you're not being super weird or whatever. Like,
yeah. Well, and
everything's
you
fine.
can be kind of weird too. I've
Yeah.
seen that.
I mean, yeah, but there's some people that like mid conversation, like we'll be talking about this, and they'll be like, "So in Star Wars, when this is the don't
You're
don't-
like, we're talking about The Simpsons, not Star
yeah,
Wars.
it's the,
Yeah.
all right, well, we'll try to include you, but I mean, let's
Oh well.
yeah,
Well, I wasn't that weird.
No.
But when I started talking to the people, it was just like, oh, these guys are so accepting and so fun and
we
stuff.
try.
Well, and then my little girls got older and started bringing them in. They're just having fun, and I was amazed with how much everybody here was great with kids, because that is not always the case. I mean, like on The Simpsons, the comic book guy,
Yeah.
who's like, don't touch my Atomic Man #1. That is
Well,
a true stereotype.
Well, there is something to be said about well-behaved kids. There's some
yeah.
kids that like they'll come in and they'll start shaking a comic around by the cover. It's well, I'm never making money off that thing.
Oh, dang.
Well, there goes that business.
Well-
but I mean, your kids have always been very respectful
Yeah.
and like very well behaved. And
Yes.
if they do pick up a comic, it's because they're genuinely interested in it, and they typically ended up getting it too. Like, it was-
Yeah. He's looking at that. All right, we'll probably make $2 off of that. And then how much money can I make off this dude?
But
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely like a okay. They're very much into comics.
Yeah.
Like you want to foster that. If I lost a little on it, then oh no. But
in the long
it's-
run, no big deal.
It's the
Yeah.
kid that has like a $50 book that he's waving around by the cover. It's the oh man, why is no one watching this kid?
Yeah, that's rough in any environment.
Yeah.
But we had come in and my kids were like, they were probably around 2 and 4 and 5. Like they were tiny.
Yeah.
Well, and Buck's like, hey kids, let me show you something. I have a magic trick. And he showed them how to make his thumb float. Like he took his thumb off.
Oh yeah,
One of his favorite
Yeah,
magic
most
tricks.
people do. Yeah, most people do this number right.
Yeah.
But I have these giant fat fingers, and I can bend my my middle finger knuckle in, and I can pull one of these and pull it out.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it
So,
was.
Yeah, and at first glance you don't notice that my middle finger swells
Yeah.
the size of a thumb.
Well, they watched it and they were just blown away. And I was sitting there watching it, being like, okay, this dude's a good showman. And this is such a basic trick. And then I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
little kids. Well, we left and they're like, that guy's magic. So the next time we were like, hey, girls, you want to go to the Magic Guy's comic shop? They're like, the Magic Guy, yeah. It was so sweet and so fun.
Well, and your girls are so much fun. They're so nice and they're good sports for the most part.
Yeah.
There was one time I forget which one was throwing a fit.
I know which one.
And
Oh, let me tell that story. It's so great.
Yeah.
It's my baby number 3. Like, baby number 3 pops out. And when she was tiny, she even told us. I mean, she was like 3 or 4, and she was telling my wife, she was like, Mama, I should have been born first.
Oh.
And we were like, what? No.
All
We were like,
right.
no, God decided you to be 3, and that's good. And she was like, no, I'm supposed to be first. And so her personality is so strong, and she will tell you what she thinks. And she was in here, and she does not love your comic shop, which bugs me. I'm like, how can you get bored? There's so much to look at. But anyway, we were over there, and I was like, 15 minutes. And she was 9, and she was like, 15 minutes is up, Daddy. And she's super smart, too, which is, I'm like, crap, it's been 20 minutes. You're right. And so she's like, it's terrible in here. I want to leave. And she has this high, shrieky voice, and she was just totally being annoying and whiny. And then Buck's over here at the table, and he's like, it's terrible in here. It's so terrible. Well, and she looks at me, and she gives this look of like, is he doing that? I can't believe he's doing that. And she looks at him and like, like she wasn't offended. She was like,
oh, she was ready to go,
You're
which
an
is
idiot,
which
is
is
what.
oh man, that's fueling the fire.
well, and I was like, Bucks, that's not high enough. And then he tries.
Yeah.
He's like, it's terrible. His voice is so low, he couldn't hit the octave. It was just so cute and hilarious.
She was so upset that eventually she just piped down and
Yeah, it was a good thing to do because it was like, kid, you're not the only person in the world. Which,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if I know the family well enough, and the anytime a kid's being a brat, like it's the all right, let's play with this, which I learned from my nieces and nephew that that's what kids kind of needed. It's the because you as the parent have to be the peacekeeper. You can't do that because they'll remember that. What they'll remember most about like me doing it is man, that one guy was a jerk that one time.
I was gonna say,
yeah, but
we've laid down the law before, but
but
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But I won't just do that to anyone's kid. But
yeah.
like,
I get what you're saying. No, he is. Yeah, publicly, he is great with kids. They've had so many Nerf gun fights in here. And we've been in here. I get lost in comics for about 30 minutes. And then I hear giggling and laughing and running around. And it's the kids running around trying to shoot stuff at Buck. I'm like, what's going on?
Who's the biggest kid here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And most recently, one of the funnest times I came here, it was I think it was Saturday afternoon. I can't remember exactly, but we come in and I had my 13-year-old and my 11-year-old with me. And my 13-year-old, like she's hit teenager, and she's a sweet kid. She's a really great kid. But she's just like, oh, Daddy, you're cringy. But then she'll give me a hug and she'll be like, it's okay. It's okay. So I'm standing over here and we're talking. Buck and Flowers and Ben were talking.
Yeah, Ben was here, and he's 14 now. Yeah.
But they get to talking about slang of teenagers because my daughter is using so much slang, and it's hilarious because I'm feeling like such an old guy. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Yeah,
well, and I had just recently quizzed Ben on some of these things. Like he was saying like yeet, and and bay, and oh man, just all sorts of stuff. And I was, just kind of mixing up the words just wrong. Like, yeet is bay.
Oh.
And they were just like, oh,
yeah.
stop
No, it was so great. My 13-year-old, she got all red, like embarrassed that an old guy would use it wrong. And Ben was putting his head down like, this is my uncle. Oh, my gosh. But he was laughing, too. Well, and so we were asking about yeet, like when do you do yeet? And so my daughter's like, well, you do yeet, like you're at school and you throw a pencil at somebody and you go yeet, or you're excited, and she dabbed,
Oh my god!
And so Flowers is sitting there, I don't know, like 2 feet away from Ben. He picks up a pencil and says yeet and throws it, and then we keep talking. He picks up a little box, yeet, and he just throws it, and Ben's over there like getting stuff thrown at him for the next like 20 to 30 minutes.
And then Flowers just wasn't getting the whole thing, so I was like, Thor yeets in Jotunheim. And I was like, I get it now. Oh, yeet means throwing. Yeet.
Oh my goodness.
Flowers wouldn't stop. And Ben is laughing, but he's also really annoyed.
Yeah.
And he's like, these old guys.
He's like, I'm so over this.
So we started looking up other ones, and we're like, oh, that's Boots Cool.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids were like, that's not a thing.
Yeah. It is now.
Yeah.
It's our thing.
It was like, boots are bay. They're like, no, you're cringe. You're cringe. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we still laugh about that at home. I mean, just because it was like old guys having fun with teenagers, and not in a fun way.
Yeah. Just throwing their slang. Yeah.
Goofy teenagers with our slang. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we started breaking out stuff like, oh, that's totally da bomb.
Da bomb.
Yeah. And they're like, what is that?
Yeah, I know. They didn't get it, and we're like, it's off the chain.
Yeah.
So what? It went the other way. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, it was so cute and fun.
Yeah. Anytime I can be, dumb like that, let me at it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I had a comic book protocol question.
Okay.
Actually, like, is it acceptable to come in with a bag of Cheetos and eat them as you walk around the store?
No.
Yeah, I would prefer no.
Again, seeing as all this stuff is mine and I got to sell it.
Yeah. Is it acceptable to bring in your not house-trained dog and then walk around the store and use it as a dog park?
So,
Oh my goodness.
I have told people, if they bring in, like I try to discourage it unless I really know the person. But if they do, I say if the dog makes a mess, I will rub your nose in it, and I'm not joking.
Oh, okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd tackle someone, and hey, guess what?
They're going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'm a large fellow.
Yeah.
I don't want to rub anyone's face in anything. But yeah.
And this last question is more realistic. Like, what's an acceptable time to come in? Like, not time, time frame. Let's say I show up. It's 1 o'clock. Can I hang out till 6 o'clock? Is that?
I mean, it really
acceptable?
depends. Like, I mean, if you're lurking around the store, like if you're like hiding behind boxes and trying to read, like, no, like,
You're like, I'm not playing hide and seek with you,
right?
stranger.
I mean, like, we prefer people to read the things after they buy them because, of course, I need to sell them.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if you're spending all the time buying something cool, or if you're trying to hang out with us, like, I mean, unless I'm doing orders or have like some dire thing that I'm trying to get done, I'm happy to, hang out and talk. Because I mean, there's a reason that I'm doing this and not just an online store. It's because I like people. Come on in. I'm happy to talk about stuff as long as it's, as long as I don't feel like trapped. As long as it's not getting super weird, like
You don't have to pull your mace out.
if I get, I mean, there's some people that will hold me hostage in conversation,
and talk, I know.
But I mean, and sometimes it gets really weird.
Yeah.
There was this one guy trying to talk about this Superman baby adult cartoon thing. Like, when I say adult, I mean
Gross.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I started texting people like, please call the store. Just
Give me some out.
give me an out,
Oh,
Yeah, there have actually
jeez.
been times where it's like if I'm in the store and that happens, I'll call the store.
But I mean,
You're like,
again,
Yeah, like really.
Yeah.
there are rarities, But I mean, for the most part, like, we like folks, and that's why we're here. Just
Yeah.
come on, I'm folksy,
And you guys are awesome with
Yeah.
But
But I mean, Flowers comes in and he spends
he's great.
hours
he's fun.
here. Yeah.
He has helped me multiple times in the store. It's like, oh, Evan, you'll probably like this and this. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Right." And
And
then I'm
that's the
like,
thing.
Flowers doesn't get paid.
No.
No.
Like, he has helped me so
Like
much.
Flowers and Bronson.
But
like
I mean, like, you've been around and you've helped other customers. Like, that's
Oh, I
that's
have?
the whole thing.
Oh, good.
Like, well, I mean, like, someone was picking up something that you had just read. You're like, oh, dude, that's great. That's
Oh,
that
good.
whole
Well, that's
thing.
helpful.
I mean, like that's
Yeah.
the best part about the community here
Yeah.
is being like, oh man, like you would totally love this, or I just read this, or you see what's in somebody's hand, and you can be like, oh, you have this, you would totally love this.
Yeah.
And that brings me up to, I have a theory, and I wonder if you guys agree or disagree, because you do this every day when Free Comic Book Day is
Yeah.
huge. You meet somebody, you get to know them quickly, and then you have to decipher what would be a really good comic book for them.
I can do that almost instantly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my theory is...
I say almost instantly, but
Yeah, no, it's not 100%. But my theory is people that like certain type of superheroes are going to have certain aspects of their personality. Do you agree or disagree? Like example is people that I've known as good friends that are like Superman nuts. They love Superman. They have aspects of their personality that are idealistic or really, really hopeful. Whereas somebody who loves Punisher, they really like justice or they really like violence. I don't know which.
Yeah.
But, I mean, could you agree or disagree on that?
There is,
I think there's definitely outliers.
yeah, but that's not the whole story. Just because, or there are exceptions to every rule, but I'd say that there's almost more exceptions to that rule than others. Because, take Punisher for example.
Yeah.
Depending on the story, doesn't mean that, you like violence, you like justice. You like reading about how driven a person is and why they're going about the things they're going.
I think
about
that's
them,
the different stories are a good example for that.
right.
Or
And-
who writes the
So
stories.
you've got to narrow it down. Like, hey, if you're going to like this story because you like the conflict or you like the good and the bad, very straightforward at
Like,
going each other.
If
or you like
somebody,
it muddy.
like whenever Daredevil was really big on Netflix, if someone's like, I really like the Daredevil on Netflix, I would be like recommending them a certain Daredevil book versus other Daredevil books.
Because he's been written different ways, right?
Right.
And presented different
Yes.
ways.
Yeah. typically when someone comes in and like, hey, recommend something to me, I'll say, okay, well, what kind of movies or TV do you like?
Yeah.
I will.
then-
I've heard you say that.
I definitely do that. Or I kind of ask them like, what do you like to read? What are you into?
Yeah.
You know.
And because I mean, someone's gonna be like, oh, I like Batman. It's okay, well, which Batman?
Oh.
What do you like about Batman?
Because someone's-
yeah, there was like me, you, and Kira. We all have different favorite Batmans.
Yeah.
Flower has a different Batman. Like we all have a different
Yeah, and
flavor
I mean,
of Batman we like.
yeah, based on my personality, who like loves all the crazy and wacky and zany stuff.
Oh.
My Batman, I affectionately refer to as Asshat Batman, who needs all the help and all the land, and keeps rejecting all of his partners, friends, whatever. But like when the going gets tough, he commands them all and needs them, and
Yeah.
But like, he hates having them there around,
Yeah, and Flowers Batman is probably really dark and gritty.
I mean, you'd
Flowers.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it not?
You'll have to ask him.
Oh. Well, because he's recommended stuff, and I'm like, that's neat, that's neat. Okay,
Yeah.
that's dark, that's rough. Okay, now I'm depressed. I need some
know.
balance.
But I mean, it's that. Whereas like my Superman is like the John Byrne era Superman, or it's the 50s, 60s Superman, where yes, he has the power to move the world and time travel, do whatever. He is trying to make sure that everyone around him is having the most fun that a human can possibly have, and make sure that nothing bad happens to them.
Because that's you, Buck.
So
That's your. That's how you try to navigate,
Oh.
dude. Like you really try to be aware of people. That's interesting.
Oh.
That's interesting.
I wouldn't have pegged that.
Surprise.
Oh, that makes Superman Day way different.
Oh, that's really funny.
Wow. Learning about myself on my own podcast.
Yeah, you didn't know this was partly counseling.
Oh, man.
Or do we need to cry it out now?
I don't
I'm
know.
okay with that. I'm kind of a
If
crier.
I do that, I'll just take off the ring and make fun of my marriage again.
Take me off again.
Love my wife. Oh, man. Yeah, so did you have any other questions for us?
Not really.
No? Okay. Well, then...
Like, whoops.
No, you're good. You had requested that I tell us my favorite story of you and your family.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was worried that we weren't going to get to that. Or
No.
forgotten. Great.
Because we always try to end these on a story if we can. I can't remember if it was last Free Comic Book Day or the one before. It was the one before last year. You had said, "All right, Buck, if ever you need help with anything, let me know, because we're totally there." And we had an ungodly amount of comic boxes to sort,
Oh, yeah.
more than what we even have now. And I said, we need help sorting comics. So you came in and you brought the girls, and I was like, uh-oh.
You didn't know that was part of the package.
Well, it was the gotta find some busy work for the girls, and I thought, I'll give this a shot. I said, well, here's Marvel A boxes. Can you break these Avengers titles down to their specific titles? Because here's Avengers West Coast, Avengers World, Avengers Spotlight.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Well, and
Dark
we're
Avengers.
going through being like, why do you need 800 Avengers? But yeah.
But
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, cool. Well, we have 3 hours, and you were like, all right, girls. This is this man's livelihood. Do not bend any of these comics. Here's how you pick up a comic, and here's how you set it down. I don't care how you treat your comics at home. So they're like deer in a headlight, and they were like, well, look at us move these comics.
They look all scared. Yeah.
They did a flawless job.
Good.
Good. How old was your youngest?
Oh, God. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
She was 7.
7.
That
Yeah.
was a 7-year-old.
7-year-old
yeah.
was doing her job, and I thought that gave me such false hope for a lot of employees that I've had since.
Oh yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah, because
They definitely
flawless.
spoiled us.
You were
Yeah.
like, if a 7-year-old can do it, anybody can.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, yeah, they sorted 4 boxes in your in that amount of time.
Well, I guess that's decent, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's
okay.
great.
That's
Okay.
a really
Yeah.
good
Okay,
amount.
good.
They not only broke things down into title series, they had figured out the number system to it too,
Oh yeah,
and just knocked it out of the park. And it was the oh my god,
yeah.
yeah.
They're little geniuses, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
they're smarter than me.
No,
but, yeah.
so yeah, congrats on having an amazing family and being an amazing dude.
Oh, thank you, dude.
So-
Well, I remember that day. You bring it up. I had forgotten it, but I was sorting. I was like, I'm gonna help this dude out, and then I'm like, how are they doing? Oh crap! If they screw something up, it's on me. I was
Yeah.
I was more stressed than them because Anyways, I realized I would be bummed if somebody messed up my merchandise, but
Well, I mean, I looked at it as okay, at least it's getting partially done. Worst case scenario.
yeah, and then you'd have to go back and good. Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was good. That was good. Yeah, yeah. You know what I remember. Just a quick reference to
Yeah.
the New World Comic Cons. You know? I remember the first one at the Paramore.
Yeah, the Paramount.
Yeah.
Paramount, and that was and I'm a vendor. I make mugs and stuff, and totally was like, oh, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be great. Show up, and it was packed. And
Yeah.
Oh my god, we were
Fun.
really surprised.
Well, the minute that we knew that it was successful, there was a race that ended up being the same day, like right in front, and they blocked off part of the road, and there were people that quit the race to come be part of the New World
Yeah.
Cup.
Hey, look at that. That looks funner.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, there were people that are like, yeah, I've been training for a while for this, but man, a Comic-Con, that never happened. Let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And so like that was just fun and cool. And it was like, well, and you guys were honest. You were like, oh, I think it's good. We'll see how long it keeps going.
Yeah.
Well, and it was my girls have been for 2 years now, and the first year they came and they helped me with my table. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty strict with them. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
be polite, be good to people. All of the vendors, they were there all day. The vendors were amazing. To
Oh,
my
our vendors are
daughters.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were nice to them and
Yeah.
and even generous. I'm like, where did you get that? You didn't have any money. Oh yeah, that guy gave it to me over there. I'm like, well,
It's because
really
they're
cute.
cute.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
Well,
they're
okay.
sweet and cute. Yeah.
Like, our vendors are just amazing people. So yeah.
Well, and after that first year, like we did a real quick costume. The first year that they came, that we
Yeah.
did a real quick costume for them. Dude, after that, they were like, what are we doing for next year? And so, like, do even more hardcore costumes. And this year, we have been totally talking about costumes, and it's going to be like, I don't know, it's going to be the highlight of our summer. I'm
that's
like,
awesome.
it's better than Disneyland because
So no pressure.
yeah. Well, and last year at the Comic-Con, having a table, there were a lot of people that said, hey, dude, this is my first Comic-Con. I'm like, great. And my thought was, what a great environment to expose them in, because the culture you guys try to build is we're accepting, we're going to have fun, come and check all this different stuff out. Instead of, your costume's not good enough because you're not a professional cosplayer, you're not good enough, or... like, oh, you don't know about every single number one.
Yeah.
You are inadequate.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
like, no,
Yeah,
it's fun.
yeah. Anytime someone comes in, like, I'll show you the perfect place to start reading whatever. Like, and there are people that only watch the movies and only watch the shows. I would say that that's no less legitimate than what I'm like. If you have the passion and love for the thing,
Come
then
check it
you're
out.
supporting.
Yeah.
You're supporting all of this that we're all really into. Like, if you love the Batman movies, like
Oh yeah.
super hardcore, you're just as legitimate a Batman fan than like me, who's read thousands of like it's
Yeah.
it's not how much that you've consumed. It's how deep is your love for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. Because I
Yeah.
mean, people come in and they're like, oh, I don't feel adequate enough to be in here. No, do you love this stuff? Well, hey, come on,
Yeah.
enjoy.
Or hey, are you just curious?
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was great about a lot of people. Hey, this is my first time. It's not an expensive con to go into.
Oh,
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
Never will be.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what, and it shouldn't be because, yeah. Anyways, because if you get really, really expensive, you only get your hardcore nuts,
Right.
And it's like, what?
Yeah,
I
it's
really like
perfect for
that,
people
but-
to bring their families and to see all of the amazing local talent
Dude,
that
there's
we have
some
here.
amazing people, amazing artists, amazing sculptors. You
Yeah.
know, some of it's just like, man, that's awesome quality. Others like, dude, that's wacky and weird. It's
Oh,
curious.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've
Like it's
found.
amazing.
the costumes. The costumes blew me away. I mean, I'm talking about the people. Like, you guys made good costumes,
Why,
but
thank
I mean,
you.
no, the people, the random customers.
Oh,
that would
yeah.
have a costume. I'd be like, whoa, that is so cool and wacky. And I really was surprised. I was like, because Oklahoma does not necessarily have a huge population, but I was like,
It's
people are
definitely
really-
growing.
Yeah.
That was growing.
You know, the cosplay community is really growing around
and,
here.
Yeah, we're doing our best to foster everything and like try to grow
And they do a really good
good
job.
community, yeah.
And then they come out in costume and just have fun and
Yeah.
laugh.
And that's what it's all about.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that's so fun. So many people showed up great. And the adult who won the costume contest.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ruby Rod, yeah.
Ruby Rod, he was in character the whole time at the convention. It just made me
Oh, and he
laugh
had
so
such a good
hard.
story. He pulled me aside and says, "I've never had so much fun at a
Oh,
place."
really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes me happy
Oh, me
because
too. Yeah.
he was a good actor. He did a good job acting, you know,
Uh-huh.
and it just made me laugh and laugh and laugh. And
Yeah,
it was
well,
just
and
great.
there are people like I spent so many more hours and I did all this with my costume, and it's sometimes it doesn't take that. Sometimes it's just the most simple things
Yeah.
that you can do to make a wonderful costume, and it was
and it's
just
still fun.
yeah.
Yeah, because there were costumes that were bought. Like last year, there was people that bought a T-Rex inflatable costume
Yeah.
thing
Oh.
and the Godzilla one.
Oh, those were our Wonder Woman's children. That I was like,
Oh.
girls, go have fun. They're
Oh.
like, well, where do we go? I was like, anywhere, everywhere. Make it the most fun. Make it as crazy as you want. Don't knock over anyone's stuff.
Yeah, they had so much fun.
Well, and
Yeah.
they got to like battling.
Yeah.
Like I was messing with my table and I'm like, what is going on over there? And there's Godzilla and T-Rex charging each other and just
yeah.
like boom. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
That's
so
well, because I even looked at that and was like, I don't think that was planned. I don't, I was like,
a little,
Oh,
a little,
okay.
like I mean, I bought those suits knowing that we were gonna have fun with them.
well, I meant the nuttiness that came
Oh.
out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't expect that level.
level of WWF going on.
Knowing what I know now, I have bigger plans for this con this year. So
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. And I
Yeah.
assume Nerds to Men will be there. Is that
They'll
right? Voice of
definitely be
God?
there.
Yeah, we'll definitely be there. Were your kids doing Adventure Time?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I remember we had them on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the thing after the show. Well, because I'm working, and they're like, "Daddy, I got to be on a podcast." I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And like, was it planned? Did you interrupt? And I was just thankful. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, these Nerd to Men are really great guys," So
Sometimes.
that's really funny.
well, cool. Well, I think that does it for our time. Evan, thank you so much for being part of this
Dude,
and being
this
part
is
of the
fun.
store and
Yeah,
everything.
this is tons of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to have you back.
Great,
Stephanie,
great.
thank you so much for being a part of this.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Brad, meh.
Poor
Brad.
Brad. He's even tired
You
tonight.
get half a blessing.
Brad, thanks for hosting this thing. You can listen to Brad weekly on the Nerds I'm In podcast. Yeah.
That's what it looks like. That's funny.
Brad, do you want to tell everyone where they can find us?
Yeah, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes podcast, YouTube, SoundCloud,
Oh.
Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can find us every Friday at 2
Ish.
2-ish
Yeah.
every Friday. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.